First time these two programs had met since 2005. Penn State won that one. Cornell, the Big Red out of Ithaca, New York. This is the way they line up. They're starting five, led by three-year starter Chris Robleski. He's one of the captains of this year's team. He's from Highland Park, Illinois. Jalal Cancer also with him in the backcourt. Bill Courtney, now in his second season with Cornell. 14 wins, 23 losses. He inherited a team that went to the Sweet 16 back in the spring of 2010. Bill Courtney has been around a lot of quality programs over the years, and a lot of belief that he could get this team back to where it was a couple of years ago, contending for Ivy League titles. Penn State, they're starting five. Not a senior among the bunch. Junior Tim Frazier, sophomores Marshall and Glover. True freshman Ross Travis has started the majority of the season, and Billy Oliver, a first-year starter, starting his 13th game this year. They are led by Patrick Chambers, now in his first season with the Nittany Lions. With Tim Doyle, I'm Eric Collins, and getting ready to start this one off, Tim.
Chambers has been very energetic on the sidelines. He's got Penn State playing at a higher level than many have expected, maybe because Tim Frazier has been that special running his ball club.
Tim Frazier averaged 6 points per game last year. He has increased that by 11. Believe it or not, Cornell actually holds the all-time series lead. These two schools have played 9 times. Cornell has won 5 of the 9. Big Red win the tap. This is Robleski up high. Gets it over to Drew Ferry, playing keep away now. Ferry is a very good shooter, averages 4 3-pointers per game. That's second in all of Division I basketball. Patient first possession for the Big Red. Ferry along the wing. Shot clock down to 10. First shot missed by Sean Miller, knocked out of bounds by Penn State. That was Travis who couldn't corral it. It will stay with Cornell. Let's take a look at our keys to victory for tonight's game.
Yeah, Cornell's got to have energy. They played Illinois very early in that game to keep them close. And for Penn State, push the tempo. You got fresh legs, and Tim Frazier needs some help. Jermaine Marshall has been that guy last 5 games, averaging close to 15 points a game.
Robleski, his first shot up and in. He's been doing that for 4 years. And it's a 3-0 lead for Cornell.
Yeah, but has struggled this year, only shooting 23% from three-point range. He's got to be happy to see that first one go through the net.
So Penn State, they have the ball for the first time. Their first shot, Billy Oliver, the bank open on a Wednesday night. Billy Oliver slams it in, and we're tied at 3. Take that every day of the week. Your first shot of the game, a little feel good off the backboard. Cancer picks up his dribble over to Fagini. Fagini wants it again. He reposts. Robleski can't get it to him. Now pressure up high. Very patient offense early for Cornell. Robleski, his second shot, rimmed left, rimming out. And Fagini, the offensive rebound, loses it. Loose on the floor, Penn State basketball.
A great hustle there by Frazier, giving up his body for his team.
Another ball loose on the floor. Cancer gets his arms around it. He's wrapped up. Alternate possession arrow is going to keep it with Penn State. These two schools first met way back in 1898. It was actually the first couple of months that Cornell had played basketball at the collegiate level. One of their first games they ever played as a university was against Penn State. Shot is missed by Marshall. Offensive rebound up and in. Ross Travis.
Chambers refers to him as the junkyard dog for his energy on the boards. Had 12 points, 8 rebounds against Lafayette. And you see how explosive he can be when he's able to carve out some position.
So first lead of the game for Penn State. Robleski leads the offense. Miller left alone. Freshman hits the 3-pointer.
And this freshman can play. 3 times already this season he was Ivy League Freshman of the Week. Only averaging 8 points a game, but he's a guy that Coach Courtney really likes.
Here you see Frazier playing off the ball, gets the feed from Glover, and now initiates the offense over there. Shot is missed by Marshall, run down by Oliver. This is really a different style of game that Frazier's playing this year as opposed to last year when he was running the point next to Taylor Battle.
Well, he had a lot of capable guys last year, and Battle was really a shoot-first guard, and now Tim Frazier has become the shoot-first guard. We see his points per game going from 6 points a game to this year 17, and you see him a lot of times, Eric, in one-on-one positions for Patrick Chambers. He's the guy at the end of the shot clock making those decisions. What really scares Cornell coach Bill Courtney is his ability to give up the basketball. We all know he could score, but it's his passing that's really elevated his game.
Shot along the baseline, and Ferry rattles it in. That's the third three-pointer made by the Big Red.
Yeah, Ferry's the leading scorer for the Big Red, and he's a guy you absolutely cannot lose. That's too good a look for a guy who's making about 4 3-pointers a game.
Robleski, Miller, and Ferry have all hit three-pointers, and a turnover gives the ball back over to Cornell.
Yeah, it's excellent ball reversal there. See, if you're Penn State, you got to recognize that Cancer is not a shooter. So what you do is you fake at Cancer and then recover to Ferry, because scouting report is Ferry is a knockdown shooter. So that's just knowing personnel, and that's just showing Penn State's youth at times. Why run at a guy who can't make a shot and leave a guy wide open who's really been automatic? He's made 5 3-pointers a game his last 3 games, shooting over 50% from 3.
Patrick Chambers dealing with, I think, maybe blood on a uniform for a player. Looks to be on one of the Cornell players dealing with that. So we're going to have a brief timeout while we get that fixed up. Oh, it is Frazier. It is Tim Frazier getting looked at.
You know, those are kind of the ups and downs of coaching a young team, is learning on the fly. And that's something that they're going to break down in film session, is knowing personnel. This coaches do a great job of breaking down scouting report in the workout. Who is going to catch the ball? Who's their number 1 scorer? If you're Penn State right now, each and every time down the floor, you got to know where Ferry is, because he's that good a shooter.
It looks like Frazier may have been scratched. He's bleeding from his right elbow. It's now covered, and now they're just going to work on the uniform, making sure that is as clean as possible.
Yeah, new rule this year, you get 20 to 30 seconds to see if you can fix that cut to stay on the floor. It looked like Frazier was unable to get that done in that time frame.
First substitution for Cornell. Big fella, Atan Chemerinsky checks in. Number 55 in red. This is Chemerinsky setting a screen, now rolling with Robleski picking up his dribble. Jump shot, Miller. That's his second three-pointer. All 4 baskets made today by the Big Red have come from behind the arc.
Yeah, and Penn State's not doing a good enough job of rotating on defense. Cornell made 10 3-pointers against Illinois, so you know that was going to be high on their scouting reporters. Watch the 3.
Trey Lewis just checked in for Tim Frazier and does a good Tim Frazier impersonation. Hits the jumper.
Not shy off the bench.
Long shot, Robleski, and wave off the shot. It's going to be a little screen set on Cornell. They're going to call Chemerinsky for the personal foul. Timeout. First chance to catch our breath. Cornell from behind the arc. They've been pretty good. Already 4 triples.
The Ohio State University.
The University of Texas Southern University.
California, Berkeley.
Old Dominion University.
Harvard University.
The University of Virginia.
Texas A&M.
Norfolk State University.
As news, info, and so much more. Plus, find everything you're looking for online at shop.gopsusports.com. All now part of the Big Ten Digital Network.
Cornell on top of Penn State, 12-8, just getting started at the Bryce Jordan Center. Let's take a look at our State Farm state of success for tonight's game.
Penn State has done a great job crashing the boards. Cornell has been out-rebounded in every game this year. So you know Patrick Chambers was telling his team when the shot goes up, don't worry about getting back on defense. Crash those offensive boards. That's an impressive stat for the Nittany Lions.
Does that surprise you, considering how many younger players and how many big players they lost from a year ago to Penn State?
Well, sometimes that stat could be misleading. It also means you're missing a lot of shots as well. So when you're shooting under 40% as a team like Penn State is, there are going to be a lot of chances to get offensive rebounds.
Tim Frazier cleaned up. He's back on the floor. He's running in the backcourt next to Trey Lewis, who stays in the game.
And watch number 35, Billy Oliver here. Good pick and pop guy.
Frazier splits the double team, and did he travel? He did. Trying to get through a double team. He pushed the ball through and then shuffled the shoes while he was picking it up. A couple of changes to tell you about for Penn State. Patrick Chambers has also brought in Cameron Woodyard. So it's a particularly small lineup right now. It's Lewis, Glover, Frazier with Oliver and Woodyard. So a 6'8", 6'5" along the front line, and then 3 guards. That's going to be the second foul on Atan Chemerinsky, who is prone to have foul trouble. Picked up a couple of quick fouls against Illinois and was saddled to the bench early. Frazier gets it over to Glover. Nice bounce pass, and Oliver just can't finish with the left hand. Now Cancer wants to run. Ferry step-in jumper. Nice looking stroke.
Oh, that is pure classic head fake, one dribble pull-up. That has really been a lost art at every level, but it's a shot that if you can perfect it, Eric, it's impossible to guard because the defenders has to respect that dribble.
Lewis, long jumper. He's made 2 3-pointers coming off Patrick Chambers' bench.
Both teams, look at that, 7 of 9 from 3 to start the game.
Make it 7 of 10 as the shot is missed from deep. And Penn State, they want to run. And before the drive got started, the freshman Lewis called for the travel. 3 turnovers now for Penn State.
See in transition here. Watch the use of the head fake right here to get his defender, bam! And then the one dribble pull up. Lewis unable to recover, and Ferry has been so good so far. Look at him running off that screen. Excellent recovery there by Frazier.
Billy Oliver goes to the bench, replaced by Sasha Borovniak. Borovniak's first playing time, number 21, the sophomore from Serbia. Robleski running the offense.
Both teams have been in man-to-man so far.
Shot clock down to 6. And the ball is knocked out of bounds. It will stay with Cornell. Shot clock is at 5 now.
Now, if you're Penn State, you got to find where Ferry is. More than likely, he's going to be running off some down screens here. Number 15 in red.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Ferry's going to have to fire. In trouble. And it's a little bit short, but it goes out. Last touch by Woodyard. So it's going to stay with Cornell. A fresh shot clock.
But these games are always danger zone games for a big school like Penn State. You got the break coming up, holiday season, so it's important to come out and have some energy. I thought that last defensive stance, you saw Frazier moving a little bit better, starting to pick up the level of play.
Junior Josh Fragini back into the game, replacing Dave Lamore. Robleski fires the inbounds. First shot, Jonathan Gray off the bench. Misses it wide right. Nittany Lions want to run. And now they'll slow up and wait for Frazier. Frazier fires. Off the mark, 1 and done. Cornell on the year, 4 wins, 5 losses. This is a team that 2 years ago grabbed national attention by winning a couple of games in the NCAA tournament, including one against Wisconsin to make it to the Sweet 16. And a silly foul there on Frazier. 25 feet away from the basket, he fouls Josh Fragini.
Well, Fragini got off to that white-hot start against Illinois. Eric, he had 14 points in that game, all in the first 9 minutes. And against Myers-Leonard, his head coach, Bill Courtney, said, you got to bring him away from the basket. He made 3 3-pointers early, and it really changed the whole complexion of the Cornell game in Champaign. So Tim Frazier was aware of how good a shooter he was, just a little too slow to recover.
Virginia career-high 14 points against Illinois on Monday. He'll have 3 free throws. He's already made the first 2. Jermaine Marshall back into the game, replacing Matt Glover. Glover's first chance to rest on Penn State bench. Sean Miller is going to go to the bench for Cornell. Dwight Tarwater in for the first time. Tarwater wears number 33 in red.
You see Cornell go to a little 1-2-2 full court pressure.
Penn State beats it nicely, and Frazier. Borovniak has it blocked from behind. Fragini with the block. Ball stays with Penn State. Shot clock does not reset. Frazier, little swoop, no. Borovniak, no. Borovniak again, and score the goal.
Sasha relentless on the boards. Nothing is worse than getting your layup blocked, but Give Sasha credit, he stuck to it on the glass.
Penn State down by 4. Senior Robleski. Over to Ferry. Now Fagini sets the screen. Open on the block, couldn't get it to him quickly enough. Jumper, Tarwater, way off the mark, and a push going for the rebound. Going to be called on Jonathan Gray.
Borovniak, relentless on the glass here. Here's a guy who's really surprised Patrick Chambers and his coaching staff with his effort. Had a big game against Ole Miss where he's 7 of 7 from the field, 15 points. Coming off an injury, they really didn't know what to expect, but he has given them some quality minutes and a post presence for the Nittany Lions.
Substitutions keep coming for Cornell. Tarwater goes to the bench. Devin Cherry checks in. Devin Cherry, number 24 in red, has played a grand total of 3 games so far this year, but he's getting first half minutes. There he is, freshman from Meridian, Massachusetts. That foul called on Josh Fagini. Number 24, Devin Cherry, doesn't get much playing time at all, but Cornell, a very deep team, deciding to use a lot of different bodies here against a Big Ten team to try and stay close.
And back-to-back Big Ten games. So I was curious to see how fresh they were going to be. It's their first time playing 2-3 zone. Nice job by Penn State, but getting in the lane, but Borovniak unable to catch and gather himself.
4 turnovers now through 8 minutes of gameplay for Penn State. Gray was a student manager a couple of years ago, number 23 in red. Now he's an integral part of this year's team. Fagini. This is with the one-hander, rebounded by Woodyard. Frazier hesitates, gets inside before the shot. Before the shot, he is fouled, so wave off the field goal. Frazier not happy with the call. We'll have a timeout on the floor. So far, Cornell on top of Penn State by 4. Welcome back, everyone. Bryce Jordan Center, State College, Pennsylvania. Cornell on top of Penn State by 4. Penn State over the years, they've had success against Big Ten teams, winning 13 times over Big Ten schools. One of those wins against the Northwestern Wildcats back in 2006. My partner, Tim Doyle, you were on the court that game. Do you remember how many points you scored?
Yeah, unfortunately, I remember the end result more, as that was our first game of the year. And looking back at that Cornell team, they had the big fella foot in the middle. Nobody knew how good Ryan Whitman was going to be, and that was his first college game. He had 20-plus points, and when you're a freshman in your first game, there's no scouting report, and he took advantage of it against us that night.
11 points, 8 assists, my guy Tim Doyle, but Cornell with the win over Northwestern. I find that amazing. Cornell has won 13 times over Big Ten teams over the years. Jump shot. Off the mark, Sean Miller back onto the floor, and here comes Penn State.
Well, how many of those wins have been against Penn State? Because they lead the series.
They've won 5 against Penn State. They've beaten Illinois. They've beaten Michigan State. They've beat Minnesota. They beat Ohio State. They beat most recently Wisconsin in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. That's not bad. Just 2 years ago, they made it to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament, beating Temple, beating Wisconsin, before eventually losing to a number 1 seed in Kentucky. Nice spinning layup there, Jalal Cancer. Lead is now 6 for the Big Red.
Steve Donahue did a phenomenal job of getting players up there. Struggling a little bit right now at Boston College, getting his own players in that system, but he really did a nice job putting Cornell on the map. Because for years, Eric, it has been Penn, Princeton, and everybody else.
Frazier hits the deck, and they're going to call a foul on Josh Fagini.
Yeah, Bill Courtney absolutely loves Cancer. He said that he's a guy that they've never had in this program since he's been there. A guy who can really attack the rim and create his own shot. It's a new dimension for this Big Red team.
They have 21 players on the roster listed for Cornell, and that man right there, Jalal Cancer, he's the only one from the state of New York. If you're not familiar, Cornell is based in New York, in Ithaca, New York, right there in central New York. So one of the 21 players is actually a local kid.
Well, those Ivy League schools all poll nationally because how great you know, the education those kids do receive. No kids on Cornell are on athletic scholarships. Ivy League rule.
Oliver misses, may have had his hand grabbed, but no call. Out of bounds, Cornell basketball. Now Penn State in a fight. 10 minutes into this one, they understand what happened to Bruce Weber's Fighting Illini on Monday. Cornell led throughout that game before Brandon Paul and DJ Richardson made some late shots. Inside, bodies flying, and Sean Miller's going to go to the free throw line. Miller, just a freshman from Cleveland, Ohio, will have 2 free throws.
You see as Miller left his feet, Oliver was too much in with the body. I think Patrick Chambers got to kind of speed up this game a little bit. Your Cornell had a very emotional game just a couple days ago against Illinois, a game they led in by as many as 10 in the first half and led late in the second half. What I think he needs to do is start using more bodies, pressuring the basketball, because after Robleski, the rest of the Cornell ball handlers are a little suspect. So maybe you take the ball out of his hands, speed up the game a little bit, get some energy from the guys on the bench, because this is their last game before Christmas break.
The next game that Penn State will play will be a Big Ten game at Michigan next Thursday. Final non-conference game of the season for Penn State. Cornell's made all 5 free throws. They lead by 8. 9:43 to play first half. Oliver thought about it, instead gets it over to Frazier, who falls to the ground. Shot clock down to 7. Someone's going to have to fire. Missed a couple of times by Marshall. Ball still loose, and we're going to have a travel on Jermaine Marshall.
And Marshall is astonished by the call. Patrick Chambers can't like the call either, but he's got to applaud the effort as Penn State has been dominating the Big Red on the glass. On also, I think I got to give the referee a little grief there. I think he might have missed that one, anticipated the call. To me, it looked like he did not walk on that one.
And that's at least, on my count, the 3rd travel for the Nittany Lions. May have been 4 travels already in this first half. In total, 6 turnovers for Penn State, and there's a turnover for Cornell. Robleski just can't get that hot pass. 3 turnovers now for Cornell. Now Tim Frazier coming into this one, 17 points he's averaging. Hadn't made a shot from the field yet.
Our Cornell coach, Bill Courtney, said his whole team was going to have to guard Frazier. So look for everyone to help out, step in. So they were going to have to help on Frazier and then recover to the shooters.
Frazier continues to be frustrated. He wanted continuation. He was fouled on his way to the basket. But they're going to say he was not in the act of shooting. I believe that's the 7th team foul on Cornell. So it's going to be a 1-and-1. Not a 2-shot foul. This is going to be a 1-and-1 for Frazier. Makes the first, he'll have another.
Well, Eric, as Penn State gets into conference play, that's what teams are going to do, start gang guarding Frazier, making others step up and make shots right now. Penn State shooting less than 40% from the field, 31% from 3, so struggling to make shots. So if you're Tom Izzo, Bo Ryan, Bruce Weber, you're going to take the ball out of Tim Frazier's hands, make someone else beat you.
Ferry gets it over to Cancer. Deion Giddens now in for the first time for Cornell. And Cancer has his pocket pick. Nice steal for Marshall. Now Marshall running the break. He is fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. Told you earlier about Jermaine Marshall and the way he stepped up. He's doing it on both ends of the floor, Tim.
Well, great hands there by Marshall as Cancer, I thought, over-dribbled on that possession, and the craftiness to get it up with the left hand and get to the free throw line.
This will be a 2-shot foul for Marshall. He's a 68% free throw, and he makes the first. Something to be concerned about if you're a follower of the Cornell Big Red. Already 3 different players have 2 fouls. Point guard Robleski, Josh Virginie, one of your big guys, and Atan Chemerinsky, one of the backup big guys. So 3 important players. Already 2 fouls here in the first half.
Now, if you're Tim Frazier, you got to zero in that you're in the bonus, and you got 8:21 left in the first half. So anytime you can be aggressive going to the hole, you got to take advantage of that because Cornell's going to be in the penalty the rest of this first half.
This is Robleski with the ball. He's got 2 personal fouls. He'll stay on the floor. He's a 3-year starter and a captain, so Bill Courtney trusts him. Shot is missed, rebounded by Marshall. And Marshall has it blocked out of bounds. It will stay with Penn State. Timeout on the floor, 7:46 left to play. Penn State in trouble early. Cornell off to a nice start. They lead by 5. Now Cornell hit 10 three-pointers Monday against Illinois. They're up to a good start from behind the arc tonight against Penn State.
No, I absolutely love the way they're reversing the ball around. Ferry has been white hot over his last 5 games. Miller has made a few, and if Cornell's going to have a fighting chance, they're going to have to make perimeter jump shots because, Eric, frankly, they don't have an inside presence that can get them 15 to 20 points down low.
On the inbounds play, shot missed by Ross Travis. Another offensive rebound for Penn State. Put up and in by Matt Glover.
That's 10 first half offensive rebounds, so nice job by Patrick Chambers telling his team Cornell has been out rebounding every game this year, crash to glass.
Penn State leads the Big Ten in offensive rebounds so far this season. That's keeping them in this game. Cancer. Pass over to Miller, blocked from behind. Miller gets it back, and another miss. Finally cleared by Glover. Here comes Frazier. Frazier, what a move! Has it blocked by Miller. Oh, the hesitation was gorgeous. Looked like he was open. And Cancer grabbed from behind.
Starting to pick up the pace a little bit as stepping up there. Marshall with the hands, and then Frazier going the other way. Look at this hesitation, able to get free, but Miller was there with the excellent rejection.
Angelo Cancer at the free throw line. He is off to a terrible start this year at the free throw line. That's just the 6th free throw he's made in 19 attempts. Hard to believe he's that bad. Stroke doesn't look that terrible. Splits the pair. He's 6 for 20, 30% so far this year at the free throw line. Penn State down by 4. Under 7 minutes to play first half. Marshall. Ferry the rebound over to Cancer. And Cancer splits a couple of defenders and puts it in.
Great body control there, and you get the timeout from Patrick Chambers. He is not happy with Jermaine Marshall's shot selection. He's taking a lot of iffy shots, and what happens is when you take long three-pointers, it opens up fast break opportunities. And the nifty footwork by Cancer, able to score in Cornell, playing very well on the road, leading by 6.
Well, this week on BTN.com, don't miss any exciting hoops action. Go to video.btn.com this week and check out our upcoming basketball schedule as teams get closer and closer to starting conference play. Mid-next week, everyone's going to be off and running.
There's still a lot of question marks around the league. Ohio State has a question mark. How's Sollinger's foot going to be? Michigan, I think, is sneaking up on people. Michigan State has gotten better as the season goes on, so it's going to be an up-in-the-air conference. I thought Iowa would be a little bit better than they have been, but they've been playing well of late, and I think Penn State has surprised people so far.
Aggressively to the basket, Jermaine Marshall is fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. Deion Giddens went up for the block, and Marshall will shoot 2.
Number 11, Jermaine Marshall for the Lions. 2 shots.
Last year, Jermaine Marshall had played a total of 24 minutes. They thrust him into the lineup against Purdue. He gets 18 points really out of nowhere. And then for the rest of the season, Eric starts getting consistent minutes. And then now this year, just had 5 straight games where he scored in double figures, averaging about 15 points over that span, starting to become more of a reliable scorer. But he has to learn what's a good shot and what's not a good shot on the offensive end.
What have we learned so far this year? First time that people in the Big Ten have seen Patrick Chambers as a head coach, just a couple of years experience at Boston University. But what style of team will a Patrick Chambers Nittany Lion team look like?
I think they're going to be very guard-oriented. You think back to Chambers, he was an assistant for Villanova. All those great Villanova teams are all very guard-oriented, playing 3-4 guards with Allen Ray and Nardi Randy Foye in that backcourt. So look for them to be energetic, young. He has to do a good job, Eric, of winning over Philly guys.
Glover with the steal. Marshall is fouled. Marshall is just making a living at this free throw line. He's fouled by Sean Miller.
Yeah, I talked about maybe Penn State picking up the defense. Three-quarters court there, trap, created some offense from their defense. What happens is you basically have more horses than Cornell does. Start using them, rotate more guys in there, get some energy from your bench guys, and Marshall no longer settling for jumpers, lowering that shoulder and getting back to the free throw line.
That's been free throws that have been keeping Penn State in this game. Patrick Chambers' team not shooting particularly well, but they've already attempted 7, make it 8 free throws now. And they're within 3 of Cornell.
And they're going to stay in that three-quarters court. Looks like 1-2-2 pressure.
And last foul, 10 now on Cornell. Oh, blocked away by Frazier! How did he get up there? Loose on the floor, tie-up. And it's going to be Penn State basketball. Tim Frazier is 6'1", and he just blocked Deion Giddens, who is 6'9".
Frazier with that 34-inch vertical. Got some sweet springs in those legs.
Oh, my! Folks, that's an 8-inch difference. I would say Deion Giddens needs to get back the scholarship, but he's not on one. Cancer. Loose on the floor, picked up by Ferry. Cornell trying to regroup. They still got the lead.
And you see Penn State getting some energy right now from the defensive end as they're sitting in 2-3 zone.
This is Giddens, and Giddens gets some retribution there. The freshman from Germany puts it off the window.
An important basket right now to kind of stop the bleeding for the Big Red. Now they come out 2-3 zone.
That's impressive. Giddens got his shot blocked by a point guard and still keeps his head in the game and gets himself a layup in the same possession. Marshall dumped down, trying to get it to Borovniak, and it's knocked away.
You can't leave your feet there. Once you go up in the air, you're in no man's land.
Bodies flying as Miller trying to get inside, and they're going to call the foul on the freshman Miller. It's going to be a travel on Miller.
Tim Frazier was all over the court there. I thought Wobleski got away with a push and then steps up there, causes the turnover. Blocking shots, starting to get some energy from your do-it-all point guard. Now against this zone, the soft spot is going to be in that foul line area. Excellent reverse pass.
Glover has his 3, lip out.
That's textbook offense, though. That's a good look for the Nittany Lions.
Wrobleski, the senior, a little bit short. Under 5 minutes to play first half. Tim Frazier still has not made a shot in the field. And that changes. Score the goal and the foul. 3-point opportunity for Tim Frazier.
And once he's able to turn that corner, he's got such great leaping ability. That quick twitch allows him to get to the rim, to score, and get to the free throw line.
And I think this is going to be even more point opportunities for Penn State. They call a technical foul on Cornell. That foul is called on the senior Chris Wrobleski. He's now got 3 fouls. And we're going to have Marshall at the free throw line shooting the technical. He'll have 1 more. And then we'll have Frazier at the free throw line trying to finish off the 3-point play. So with the made shot and the first technical, that's already 3 points on this possession. A chance to make it 4. Could have been a 5-point possession if you factor in the technical on Bill Courtney.
A nice coaching adjustment there by Patrick Chambers, going to the three-quarters court press. Eric, they seem like a different team ever since they've started to pick up the energy level on the defensive end. Let's see if they stay in that after the free throw.
Couple of missed free throws. And it's still a 2-point lead for Cornell. Dominic Scelfo in for the first time, number 12 for Cornell. He's got the ball. All new backcourt for Cornell is Max Grobe also in, number 11. This is Scelfo over to Grobe.
Look at Frazier chase Ferry around. Great energy from Frazier there.
Another turnover. Frazier in the paint. The lead for Marshall. If you
watch Tim Frazier on that defensive possession. He chased Ferry all around the court, forced an errant pass, and on the other end, an excellent decision. The junior from Houston.
At one point, Cornell led by 8. That was at 9:53 left in the first half. But Penn State, now they've gone on a nice little spurt here to tie the game at 26.
Yeah, it was a smart move getting Frazier the ball in the middle of the court on the transition. Excellent decision making, and Penn State starting to play with a little bit more of that energy and urgency that Patrick Chambers was so worried about in the Mount St. Mary's game that he came out 30 minutes before the game just to watch layup lines to make sure his team was energetic. Not looking too far ahead to going home for the holidays.
Guys have a hard time playing this time of year with finals over and the holidays upon us.
Well, you know, the stadium's half full, let's be honest. The students are on break right now, so it's a lot of self-motivation to go out there. And what you got to do for these games is think back to May, June, July. All the workouts are for these games right here. So this is the fun part of playing basketball at the college level.
Turnovers on back-to-back possessions for Cornell. Things are falling apart for Bill Courtney's team. 3:52 to play in the first half. A tie game at 26 apiece, and Tim Frazier with the block of the night early.
Even the highest efficiency dishwasher can't remove spots from your glasses if you have hard water. But a Culligan High Efficiency water softener can. The Culligan High Efficiency saves you up to 46% in operating costs, and it makes your glasses look 100% beautiful.
Oh, we miss you, honey.
I'll be home soon. Until then, I have my wingman helping me out. Tommy?
I helped Dad pick it out.
It's beautiful.
Behind every open heart is a story. Tell yours with my open heart collection at Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. There are millions of reasons to give one, but the message is always the same. Keep your heart open, and love will always find its way in.
I love you.
I love you too.
Every kiss begins with K.
This is me, and this was not the person that I was used to seeing in the mirror. So I decided to do something about it.
I look at that person, I don't even see the same person anymore. It's just night and day.
I guess when you think about it, I didn't like being bald. So it wasn't me.
If you're losing your hair, you can now choose to do something about it. Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. To find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free information kit. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling.
I look old. I was 26 at this time, and it made me look about 10 years older. I wanted my hair back.
Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 1-800-497-8107. That's 1-800-497-8107.
Culligan has a wide range of bottle-free drinking water options for your home or office for just 3 cents a glass. There are no bottles to lift, and you never run out of bottled quality water.
Right now, you can rent your choice for $10 a month for the first 3 months. Culligan, better water, pure and simple.
3:52 left to play here in the first half. Cornell and Penn State meeting for the 10th time in their series history. Cornell leads the all-time series 5-4. First meeting way back in 1898. The game was played at the Armory at Penn State's campus. Penn State won 26-5. That was back in 1898. That's some solid defense laid down. Cornell only managing 5 points in a game. I guess the basketball has changed over the years. Penn State has the ball. Chance to take the lead. Glover, travel. That's the 4th traveling violation against the Nittany Lions here in the first half. Be sure to stay tuned at the half for our State Farm halftime report. Mike Hall and Keno Davis will break down our first half. Plus a lot more. That's all coming up at halftime right here on BTN. Cantor runs the ball over the half-court line, and he is pushed by Ross Travis. One freshman pushes the other. First foul on Travis. Billy Oliver will come back in. Oliver replaces Travis. Patrick Chambers doing some more coaching. Chambers, a legend down in Philadelphia. High school player, really good as a college player. And of course on Jay Wright's Villanova staff for a handful of seasons. Coming off a screen, this is Ferry. Tough jumper, a little bit short. Rebounded by Marshall. Frazier gets in the paint, jump stop, and throws it out of bounds, trying to get it to Glover.
Yeah, that's rule number one in basketball, is you don't leave your feet. And Frazier is so bouncy. It was actually a pretty good decision, but Glover ended up curling that instead of standing still in the corner. So the junior is going to get charged with the turnover.
Cancer gets inside, leaves it for Ferry. Contested three, was blocked. Nice defense by Marshall to get a finger on that one. And again, Frazier gets into the paint so easily and banks it home. 5 points now for the junior. And for the first time in a long time, Penn State has regained the lead.
Cornell has been stuck on 26, it seems like forever.
Wild shot inside is going to be rewarded. Cancer is fouled by Marshall. It's going to be a shooting foul, so Cancer is going to go to the free throw line.
Jermaine Marshall's got such long arms. You know, Patrick Chambers doesn't like when he just settles for jump shots. Get into the post and create something off the bounce. We see him get out and block that shot of Ferry's. He's going to be a player who's going to be very, very good as he comes along here in the Big Ten.
Second foul on Jermaine Marshall. Cancer will shoot 2. Just like early in the game, Cancer hits the first of 2 free throws. He's got 6 points. Marshall will go to the bench with those 2 fouls. Cancer now 7 for 21 at the free throw line on the year. How is he shooting 33%? That's a good looking stroke.
Yeah, you know what happens is you go 0 of 2, then you go 1 of 4, and then all of a sudden you lose your confidence a little bit, your percentage of shot. He's going to have to make a lot of free throws just to get his percentage up to somewhat decent respectability. But it can easily happen. It's easier said than done.
Trey Lewis back into the game, freshman from Cleveland, Ohio. Barovniak blocked. Impressive block inside. Jonathan Gray, former student manager, with the block. Sean Miller hands it over to Cancer. It's the third time we've had a tie score here in this first half. Cornell hasn't made a shot from the field in over 5 minutes now. This is Chemerinsky. This guy can solve a Rubik's Cube in less than 3 minutes. Missed by Grove and an offensive rebound. Deep jumper. Ferry, ring it up.
I've really been impressed with Sean Miller. I mean, he's done a great job, kept that ball alive with the offensive rebound, and then the kick out. Great block shot on the other end. He has been very active for the Big Red.
Glover hits the front of the iron, and Ferry runs down the rebound. Cornell's got numbers, 5 on 4. Open man, Grove. Rebounded by Frazier. Under a minute to play as Frazier hits the deck. Grove didn't mean to, but it's going to be called for the foul.
Thought that shot for Cornell was a little fast there. No need. You're up 3 right now. Pull the ball out. Get a good shot. I'm sure that's what Bill Courtney is telling his team right now. You can relax once in a while. We have the lead on the road.
Penn State's been in a double bonus for a while. This will be 2 free throws. Frazier 1 for 3 at the line. Tim, you and I have seen Tim Frazier for a number of years now. He was the consummate point guard the last couple of years. Bring the ball down, set up offense, get it to Taylor Battle, get it to Jeff Brooks. Wasn't much of a scorer. Did you think he had this in him to go from 6 points to 17?
Talking with him, he told me he had really no other choice. I mean, you look at their point guard position, Penn State, they were very thin. Here's a guy who's kind of been through the wars, had to take over in spring practice and carried over to the fall, and he has become the BMOC in Happy Valley.
There's a foul, I think that's going to be called on Atan Chemerinsky. It is. It's his 3rd foul. So he's got about 4 minutes of game time, and he's picked up 3 personal fouls. Chemerinsky's a guy you want to talk more about because he speaks 6 languages, including Mandarin that he just picked up this summer on a whim. Picked up a book and started learning Mandarin, and now is fluent in it. Wow. He's got time to practice his Mandarin. He's going to be on the bench for the remainder of this first half, as he's gotten 3 quick fouls and another turnover as Frazier throws it away. That's Chemerinsky, junior from Potomac, Maryland. He's got a 3.9 GPA in applied economics, basically a business major. Cornell has one of the best business schools in the country, in the world, make that. Big break in the hole for the final shot. Difference game clock and shot clock is about 2 seconds.
And watch number 15, Ferry, top of your screen.
Now Cancer will get going. Spinning. And that's going to do it for our first half of play. But for the second time in 3 days, Sean Miller and the Cornell Big Red, they go to the locker room with a lead on a Big Ten team. Cornell on top of Penn State, 31.
Mike, he's been aggressive in that first half. He's better off, Eric, when he is going towards the rim instead of settling for jumpers.
You see those 8 points for Marshall. It's been some volume shooting for him. He's 1 for 7 from the field. He is 6 for 8 at the free throw line. That's how he is getting his 8 points.
Well, they've done a great job at Penn State at going to the glass. I mean, that's going to be the difference in this game. Can they implore their will on the offensive glass? Because Cornell, take a look at Fagini. He is in foul trouble along with Wobleski and the big fella. A ton of fouls for Cornell. They could not get any kind of offensive rhythm. Still 1 point lead. Hey, how about this? Back-to-back games against Big Ten teams, Eric. They get the lead at halftime.
Bilal Cancer, freshman, in the backcourt with Drew Ferry and Chris Wobleski. Wobleski, the captain from Chicago, he is playing with 3 fouls, limited to just 14 minutes in the first half. Frazier and Penn State start with the ball. Pass picked up in the corner by Marshall. Back out to Frazier. Marshall inside, power dribble, blocked. Blocked inside by Fagini. Here comes Ferry, pull-up 3. Out of bounds, it'll stay with the Big Red.
They're coming in at halftime. Patrick Chambers tried to get Marshall on the block there, and I thought there was a little bit of contact. He doesn't get the call, but went hard. You see he tried to jump into Cancer there. Good no call by the ref. Looking at the tape. That is.
Wobleski over to Cancer. So it's Wobleski, Ferry, Cancer, the freshman Sean Miller, and Josh Fagini, the 5 on the floor for Cornell. For Penn State, Oliver, Glover, Marshall, Frazier, and Ross Travis. Same 5 that started the game on the floor right now for Penn State. 2 fouls now on Tim Frazier.
Penn State was in a 2-3 zone. Now they morph back into man-to-man.
Correct myself. I said Travis is on the floor, but he's not. Sasha Borovniak getting the start here in the second half for Penn State. And a steal has Frazier on the run out. Frazier hesitates. Pull up one-hander off the backboard and in. That one may have intentionally been off the backboard. What do you think?
That's the second one he's made.
But I think that one was intentionally off the backboard. Do you agree?
You know, the way Frazier gets to play with free reign, he can do whatever he wants. You know, he's going to be out there. That's a nice way to play at any level where whatever decision you make, good or bad, you're staying on the floor.
Penn State has made 3 shots so far today from straight on where they've used the backboard. One of them a 3-pointer by Billy Oliver to begin the game. 3-pointer up and in, third one for Drew Ferry.
Yeah, that's a breakdown defensively from Penn State. Whenever the opposite baseline drives that way, you're told if you're on the other side of the court to run to the corner. So you got to know that and find a shooter like Ferry. Excellent pass there by Wobleski.
Contested jumper good for Frazier. He's starting to heat up with 11 points. Generally the way, if you make a shot off the backboard that you don't intentionally make off the backboard, start to get into a good rhythm. Cancer, score the goal and the foul. It's just a freshman. He's able to penetrate, and he's got patience once he gets into the paint.
Nifty footwork here as he spins up, under. Nice job of keeping that pivot foot down. I'm sure if you're a Penn State fan, you're saying he's walking, but take a closer look. Nice job by the freshman. 9 points tonight.
That's now 3 personal fouls on Jermaine Marshall. I think Patrick Chambers is going to take him out. He will. So Trey Lewis is going to replace Marshall, who goes to the bench with the 3 fouls. Lewis in the first half of play came off the bench and made a couple of shots. Both of them 3-pointers. 6 points in the first half for Trey Lewis. Frazier guarded by Cancer, gets a screen, loses the ball, poked away. Big Red, they've got numbers and a good veteran play. Frazier stopped the break by committing the foul.
Yeah, and doing it the right way. That's the hard part when you're giving up what is, quote unquote, is a foul on purpose. You don't want it to be intentional. Shrewd play there by Frazier.
That's his 3rd foul. Knowing that you're not going to pick up your 3rd, is it still a good foul? You just give up the layup and not pick up a personal? What do you think?
If you're Tim Frazier, it's not a good foul. You're right, Eric, because he is that valuable that now he can't play with that aggressiveness offensively. Maybe scared to get a charge. Aaron passed there by the freshman Cancer.
Borozniak with the steal. Frazier on the wing. And he's going to be fouled from behind. Lazy defense, Sean Miller.
And that's an excellent point, because now 3 fouls. Because once you get that 4th, you're in the danger zone. You can see Patrick Chambers telling Tim Frazier right there, be careful. We need you out there.
You can tell Sean Miller's played a lot of basketball with a bunch of old guys. That was old man defense right there. Let the guy blow past you and try and steal it.
Yeah, but at the high level, you don't get away with it like you do at the YMCA level.
Baseline 3, Lewis, this time off the mark, and Ferry. Wild shot, missed short. Lost out of bounds, last touch by Miller.
I don't know why Ferry made it a wild shot. He basically got a one-on-one opportunity against Frazier. Instead, he turned it into the Harlem Globetrotters. Just kind of buried his head down and threw it up with the right hand.
Very known as an outside shooter. Now 37 3-pointers on the year.
And maybe that's the reason why he didn't feel too comfortable in that one-on-one opportunity.
Glover inside, hangs, tapped, up and in, Borozniak. Borozniak getting the start here in the second half and rewarding Coach Chambers' confidence in him. 6 points now. And a steal, careless pass, Glover picks it off and scores. Penn State back on top.
You see Glover looking at the rim there, making that ball went through. Because he went almost a month without a field goal, had one in the first half, but when you go through tough struggles like that, you miss 10 shots in a row, you want to make sure that ball goes all the way through the net.
For today's game, last time he had scored, December 4th against Ole Miss. Quick trigger. Jumper off the mark. Now Penn State playing with the lead. Oliver left alone. Big 3-pointer for Oliver and Penn State. They lead by 4. And Cornell, they have to call timeout because, well, they're playing from behind for the first time in a long time. It started with Glover, and it finishes with Oliver. It's the biggest lead of the game for Penn State.
This year, give the gift that will thrill everyone. Give the Ideal Gift Collection from Omaha Steaks. The Ideal Gift Collection is a magnificent package that includes fork, tinder, and...
Penn State on top of Cornell, 41-37, 15:37 left to play. Our Verizon Key Connection coming your way.
Excellent pass here by Obleski and Ferry, knowing what to do, running to the corner on that baseline drive. I mean, that's just textbook basketball. Frazier a little slow to recover, and Ferry had some nice moments today when he's got a chance to set his feet and look at that rim.
Ferry with 11 points. Frazier with 11 points. Those are two high scores in today's game. Falling to the floor and losing the basketball, Dwight Tarwater. So a turnover gives the ball back over to the Nittany Lions. They have their largest lead of the game, up 4. And a stoppage of the clock. And we're going to have an officials timeout. We'll get situated in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Back to the Bryce Jordan Center in moments.
Digital Network.
15-19 left to play. Penn State, their biggest lead of the game on Cornell, up by 4. Before we get the ball back in play, Tim, how about your all-irreplaceable team?
Yeah, Tim Frazier's got to be at top of that list right now, at least in the conversation. Where would Penn State be without him? Sitting at 7-5, he's been their do-it-all guy. And then Hummel, Scherna, Green, and Zeller. You take them off their respective teams, I really believe this. Those teams do not even have a shot of making the NCAA tournament. That's how valuable those guys are. I mean, Zeller has been absolutely tremendous. He has transformed an Indiana team that was the last seed last year in the Big Ten tournament, and now still undefeated.
Frazier got inside and just lost the ball. I think he wanted to boom that, and the ball just slipped out of his hand. Ferry, step-in jumper. Rebounded high in the air by Frazier. He is just so athletic. Just stands out with what he can do on the floor. Frazier now is going to back up the offense a little bit. Talk about players being irreplaceable to their team. The biggest name that's probably out for the year in the Big Ten for Minnesota, Trevor Mbakwe. And Gophers, well, they really haven't been tested too much, but they're holding their own right now without their leading scorer and rebounder.
They have won all the games they're supposed to win, but once they get into conference play, they're going to have to figure out how they're going to make some perimeter shots.
Looks like Tarwater may have walked, nothing called. Spot-up jumper missed by Jonathan Gray. Look at that. Cornell, 4 for their first 5 from behind the arc. They have really struggled. Just 2 for 14 since. Frazier misses inside. And after the rebound, he's fouled.
You could tell tonight has not been Tim Frazier's night. But I like the fact that that has not affected him on the defensive end. You see there, he misses a toughie, but right back at the ball. Gets back to the free throw line and try to get those points back. That it's like the rim wasn't helping him too much in that last point.
Frazier's got a chance for a double-double. We're not talking his usual points and assists. We're talking points and rebounds. Frazier's closing in on 10 rebounds. He's got 7 boards, still with 14 minutes left to play. Chemerinsky going back to the bench. He was just on the floor for about 30 seconds, picked up a personal foul. So Chemerinsky, who is one of the smartest people in the history of the world, he's been on the floor for 5 minutes. He's got 4 fouls. It's a guy with a 3.9 GPA in applied economics who told you to speak 6 languages. The guy's having a hard time with the personal fouls. Score the goal and a chance for a 3-point play. Jonathan Gray. Gray, a student manager 2 years ago, was asked to try out for the team. He'd do a little something. How is this guy just a student manager with athletic ability?
Yeah, that's right. Steve Donahue used to let him practice with the team and got a chance to play for Bill Courtney, and now has earned himself some steady minutes. Nice finish with the left hand. And that was an important basket there. Cornell seemed extremely stagnant on offense. They were settling for jump shots, and at 6, they were starting to get in that danger zone area.
Glover and Lewis playing Keithway in the backcourt. Now they involve Frazier.
Look at Sasha posted up hard. Give the big fella the ball.
Shot clock at 11. Kick out. Glover in front of the iron. Rebounded by Oliver. So an extra possession for the Nittany Lions.
Sorry, I thought that was Sasha's Billy Oliver out there.
Joe Cornell playing defense for a while now, this time down the floor. Frazier tripped, and he's going to go to the free throw line. They're going to say that was a shot.
That was just great basketball guile as he feels that right there, the bump, he just throws it up there for grabs. That's having some basketball savviness.
I think they're going to discuss this. Yeah, they're going to have a conversation and say, you know what, that was not a shot. So it's going to be ball out of bounds for Penn State. That's the good call. Oliver, quick trigger. You like that shot?
Absolutely. Billy Oliver is the best shooter on Penn State. He's made the most threes this year. Big Red fell asleep on the zone, and that's good. His feet were set. That's an absolutely good shot. I like Frazier in the middle of the zone. That's what I like because he's such a great passer. He can find people against this 2-3 zone, the Big Redder.
Cornell, those thighs must be burning. They've been on defense for a long time now, and it results in 3 more points for Trey Lewis. His third made three-pointer of the game. Lead is 6 for the Nittany Lions. Is Cornell out of gas? Freshman Miller backs in, and he's fouled. It's a matchup of a couple of guys who are familiar with each other, both Sean Miller and Trey Lewis, growing up close to each other in the east side of Cleveland. Sean Miller's from Euclid, Ohio. Trey Lewis is from Garfield Heights, Ohio, neighboring communities.
Yeah, and I like that Sean Miller wanted the ball against the smaller Lewis. Started posting him up at the three-point line, backed him in, able to get to the free throw line. But Trey Lewis was runner-up Mr. Basketball in the state of Ohio to another Trey.
Trey Burke, Michigan.
Of Michigan, that's correct. Chambers really likes his toughness. Trey Lewis, excellent shooter. The true definition of a combination guard. Can play the one and the off guard.
9 points, 3 for 3 at the free throw line for the freshman Miller. 4 for 4 at the free throw line.
Well, he's going to be a good one in the Ivy League. As he progresses through the years, he is going to be a player to watch in that league.
6'7", 202 pounds, just a freshman. Trailing the break, this is Lewis, his 4th three-pointer. Off the bench, 12 points for Lewis. He's been dealing with an ankle injury in recent weeks. Looks healthy right now. Ferry in trouble. Robleski's been very quiet. This is Lamore. Bottled up by Oliver. Shot clock down to 7. Lamore, nice spin. He's going to be rewarded. He'll go to the free throw line and shoot 2. This will be after the timeout. 11 minutes and change left to play. Number 3 has made a whole bunch of 3. There's a reason why his name is Trey. Trey Lewis, 4 three-pointers made.
Oh, we miss you, honey.
I'll be home soon. Until then, I have my wingman helping me out. Tommy?
I helped Dad pick it out.
It's beautiful.
Behind every open heart is a story. Tell yours with my open heart collection at Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. There are millions of reasons to give one, but the message is always the same. Keep your heart open, and love will always find its way in.
I love you.
I love you too.
Every kiss begins with K.
Now to the bottom half of the West Region, the second team out of the A-10, the Temple Owls.
We're playing Temple.
They play the third team in out of the Big Ten, the Nittany Lions of Penn State University.
Can't keep us out now. How you gonna keep us out when we in?
I'm Cameron Crowe. Over the course of shooting our movie, We Bought a Zoo, the cast and crew had the privilege of working with some of the most majestic animals on the planet, big cats.
Lion populations have dropped more than 90% in the past 50 years.
And they're not the only big cats in danger. Cheetah and tiger populations have also dropped.
That's why we're teaming up with Nat Geo Wild to cause an uproar to save big cats.
Nicely done.
Go to causeanuproar.org to learn how you can help.
Tomorrow, BTN hits the hardwood for a doubleheader of hoops. First, Jordan Morgan leads the Wolverines into their final tune-up for conference play against Bradley. Then, William Buford and the talented Buckeyes aim to put on a show when they square off with Miami of Ohio. Big Ten basketball presented by GMC. Tomorrow only on BTN.
Penn State on top of Cornell, 49-42. Let's take a look at tonight's Reese's Perfect Combination.
Trey Lewis has been fantastic off the bench. 4 3-pointers. Tim Frazier has been all over the court. The 6'1" guard, 8 rebounds, Eric. Doing it defensively. And then he's always been the catalyst on offense this year for Patrick Chambers, the youngest coach in the Big Ten.
41 years of age.
And a Philly guy, and when talking with Coach Chambers, it's going to be important for him to get some Philadelphia kids to come out to Penn State, leave that area which is so rich with basketball talent and schools. You got Villanova, Temple, St. Joe's, LaSalle.
Big Five. Who's the second youngest coach in the Big Ten?
Matt Painter.
Nice.
Rocking new glasses this year. So maybe age catching up to Coach Painter as the specs have come on the sidelines.
Lamore makes a couple of free throws. Cornell has missed just 1 out of 15 free throws so far this evening. Nittany Lions up 5. Frazier running the offense. Shot clock at 16. Frazier is grabbed. That's a silly foul. Sean Miller 16 feet away from the cup.
You know, what Frazier has done this year is really develop his outside shot. Last year, they would guard Tim Frazier from the free throw line in. But now this year, he's become a respectable enough three-point shooter, and his mid-range game has improved that you got to guard him like Robleski's doing right now. You got to respect his J.
Oliver. And Lewis was out of bounds and didn't reestablish himself inbounds when he touched the basketball. Cornell's ball.
And Billy Oliver got that handed to him on a silver platter, a mid-range jump shot. Excellent pass there by Frazier. And see, Lewis, like you said, didn't establish, much to the dismay of Coach Chambers.
Lamore has his pass knocked away. Gets it back. Ferry over to Robleski.
You can see Cornell really stagnant on offense right now. Those legs do look a little heavy.
Step out jumper. Miller, that's a huge shot for the Big Red. Keeps him in this one, only down by 2. Miller not accomplished behind the arc, just 4 for 18 coming into this game.
He is going to be a special one in the Ivy League as he learns under Coach Bill Courtney. That length and athleticism you just don't see every night in the Ivy League.
Great ball. Glover lost the handle, got it back, and clanks the jumper. One and done. Miller with a man-sized rebound. Under 10 minutes to play. Cornell down by just 2. Robleski is pushed. That's going to be the 7th team foul now on Penn State, and Robleski, one of the best free throw shooters in the country, is going to go to the line.
Now you see Sean Miller with those long arms, stepping out, burying the three-pointer. He has been active and aggressive on the boards, disrupting passing lanes. That's why already this year, 3 times he has been named Freshman of the Week in the Ivy League, and he has had a very strong performance tonight in Happy Valley.
So Penn State in foul trouble. 17 fouls. This a 1-and-1 for Chris Robleski. Robleski, 2-time or 2nd-team All-Ivy League last year. He was 3rd-team academic All-American. He's got a 3.6 GPA in applied economics. And he's automatic at the free throw line. 5 points for the senior from Chicago. We're tied at 49. 9:46 left to play. And another whistle. Frazier is fouled. That's the 4th foul on the senior captain, Robleski. told you that Bill Courtney trusts Robleski implicitly, but you just can't leave him on the floor, can you?
No,
with 4 fouls?
No, you probably got to give him maybe to the 5.5-minute mark, as foul trouble has really plagued the Big Red tonight.
And another foul. This is going to be on Fagini, trying to stay in front of Frazier, and that's Fagini's 4th foul.
Yeah, he has been a non-factor after a career-high 14 points at Illinois. Look at Bill Courtney scrambling. He did use how many guys in that first half, Eric?
He used 13 guys.
13 guys got in the game, so if you're on the Big Red bench, start touching your toes and stretching your feet, you're about to go in the game.
Dion Giddens, who's only played in 6 games so far this year, will replace the junior Fagini. So Fagini, Robleski, and Chemerinsky all on the bench with 4 fouls. Oh, you only get 5. Open look, Lewis. He's now 4 for 6 from behind the arc.
That's a good decision right there by Tim Frazier. He could have shot that ball. Instead, get it out, work for a good one.
Another 3-pointer. This one, Cameron Woodyard. First 3 points for Woodyard. Now, where's this offense going to come for Cornell? Cantor, pretty good penetrator, gets in the paint, throws it to Ferry. Run down in the corner by Lewis. Penn State the lead in the ball.
A quick trigger there from Ferry. Didn't really have his feet set or his hands ready, and Patrick Chambers wants a timeout, wants to get a good one here. With 8:26 left in the second half. Thought it was a great decision by Frazier, not shooting that first 3 instead. With the roll, the big fella frees up Woodyard, who buries the 3.
Now tomorrow, how about a couple pretty good matchups coming your way on BTN. First at 6:30, Michigan hosting Bradley. Michigan finishing up their non-conference part of their schedule. And then it's the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Miami Redhawks out of Oxford, Ohio. That is tomorrow night, presented by GMC. I think even if Miami of Ohio had Wally Zerbiak and Ron Harper still with eligibility, they'd have a hard time against this year's Ohio State team.
Wally Zerbiak had some fantastic years. Led that team to Sweet 16. The Long Island native. He can shoot the basketball.
Pretty good players come out of Long Island, you tell me, huh?
NBA All-Star. He was 1 year.
Trying to post up. This is Marshall. And Marshall lost it out of bounds. It was off his own knee.
Jermaine Marshall's going to be a good player at Penn State. He just has to find out, Eric, what is his game? Can he shoot the ball? A little bit. Can he drive? Absolutely. I think he's very strong at that finishing. He's got long arms. I think he's still trying to figure out, what is my strength offensively in the half court? How can I help this ball club? He's taken some questionable shots tonight, but also he's made some good decisions.
Cancer. Double clutch and scoring is Miller once again. This is a true freshman, folks, with 15 points.
They're on the road against a Big Ten team. He's going to look at teams like Dartmouth, Penn, Princeton.
They're looking at his chops against Columbia and Brown. Jumper, 3 more points for the Nittany Lions. Cameron Woodyard has made 2 in a row.
Here's a guy who just averaged 8 minutes for his career, but this year already 6 double-digit scoring games. He can put him up in bunches.
Cancer misses inside. Frazier with the run out. Hesitates, waits for his mates. Borovniak, a little short. The other way, Gray, 2 more. Former student manager in transition. Under 7 minutes to play. 2-point game. Nittany Lions on top.
Yeah, Borovniak shot that ball because he hasn't touched the ball all half. When you're playing, you like to feel the ball once in a while. Maybe an ill-advised shot from the big guy.
Quick trigger, Frazier. Rebounded inside by Miller, closing in on a double-double. And Gray. Tap is good. Tied again at 55. Way to run the floor, Dave Lamore. That was Dave Lamore's first field goal of the year. And he did it in transition. A one-handed tap-in. Heck of an athletic play by Lamore.
And back-to-back athletic plays as Miller has been really good. He's got a nice soft touch. He is going to be a special one in the Ivy League. And then Lamore, the stick-to-itiveness to stay with it and be ready to play. As everyone has gotten in for Cornell.
So Lamore, right there in the left-hand part of your screen, number 4. This is the 10th game of the year for Cornell. And he's playing off the bench right now because of foul trouble, and he contributes his first field goal as a college player. He's a freshman who'd only played in one other game, and he's got 2 points now, running the floor and tapping it in.
Now, you know, his parents, if they're watching, they're thrilled right now. Their kid's getting on the board, and we're talking about it on national TV.
They're from Whitmore Lake, Michigan. You kidding me? Tie game, 55 apiece. Along the baseline, Frazier got bumped, no call, and then on his way up for a layup, he's whacked on the wrist. So Tim Frazier will go to the free throw line. We'll have those free throws when we come back to the Bryce Jordan Center. We're all tied at 55.
10 tons of towing, heavy rocks a loading, 6 gears a shifting, 8 pistons pumping, Sirius XM, and a rear locking differential.
The GMC Sierra, the truck that keeps on giving. Now during the GMC holiday event, get 0% financing for 72 months, plus $500 bonus cash on Sierra, plus 1 year of Sirius XM satellite radio, including every NFL game. Hurry, our best offer of the year ends January 3rd.
I faced one of the toughest challenges of my life right here. I couldn't swim, but I can still hear my drill instructor today. Don't quit. So I jumped in, apprehensive and scared out of my mind, but I came up a Marine.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
Friday, Rick Pizzo, Derek Rackley, and Tim Doyle debate all the hot topics and offer a fun take on what everyone's talking about. The Big Ten Pulse, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Friday on BTN.
BTN goes where you want, when you want it, with BTN To Go. Presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Watch live games and BTN original programming, all on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Plus, on-demand options include greatest games and re-airs of top matchups featuring Big Ten teams. BTN To Go is available at no extra charge to subscribers who receive BTN through their cable, satellite, or participating video providers. To learn more, visit btntogo.com.
Before the new year, resolve to support the American Red Cross, and you'll provide hope, help, and compassion every day. Do something that means something. Visit redcross.org today.
BTN Men's Basketball is presented by GMC. We are professional grade. And by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Welcome back inside the Bryce Jordan Center. A couple of free throws coming up for Tim Frazier. A 55-55 tie with Tim Doyle. I'm Eric Collins. That last huddle, Patrick Chambers, what should he have been saying to his Nittany Lions to try and get them through this final 6 minutes and 4 seconds?
Well, when they were at their best is when they were playing with urgency on defense, creating turnovers, playing with a passion. Cornell really looked stagnant for a couple of minutes until Miller made that three. It really brought them life.
Frazier misses the second free throw, but it's tapped out, and it's cleared by the Nittany Lions. So an extra possession, up by 1. 16 offensive rebounds in this one for the Nittany Lions. Woodyard, his third three-pointer of the second half. Woodyard has been the player of the game here in the second half for the Nittany Lions. He's kept them in it and kept them ahead. Lamore back out to Ferry, and he gets it right back. Big-time shot for the senior from Milwaukee. Ferry knocks it home. He's got 14.
Great extra pass by Lamore. And if you're the defender right here, you see Trey Lewis, freshman mistake. You can't leave a guy like Ferry that wide open. Excellent extra pass, in Cornell hanging around. Every time they've needed a basket to stop the bleeding, they get one right there. And Ferry, when he is open, he has been as good as I've seen so far in this college basketball season. Here's a guy who walked on at Valpo, transfers to Palm Beach Community College, ends up at Cornell, and is flourishing there.
Yeah, how many times has Cornell take a transfer from a junior college down in West Palm Beach? Doesn't happen very often, folks, but obviously a very smart guy is Drew Ferry. Had the grades, and he's playing Ivy League basketball at a high level. Nittany Lions with the ball, up by 1.
Last time they had Lewis at the 1, Frazier at the 2. Now Frazier back to his traditional point guard position.
Oliver, quick trigger. 3 more points for Billy Oliver. Lead back up to 4. 9 points for Oliver. Chris Wroblewski back into the game to run the point for Cornell, playing with 4 fouls. Miller, contested jumper. And Oliver, the rebound. Frazier.
Gonna want to find Ferry here.
Ferry misses the shot. Offensive rebound by Miller. Wroblewski. He has just not had his typical game.
He hasn't had his typical game all year. Here's a guy who's career 40% three-point shooter. This year shooting 23% from 3. He just has not found that rhythm. It's Ferry off the mark, and Tim Frazier kind of went down awkwardly, but he's up right now. Looks okay. Now you see Lewis is at the 1, and Frazier, bottom of your screen, is at the 2. So these guys going back and forth to who's playing point guard duties.
Lewis turns the corner, and he'll go to the free throw line. Now we see nothing but jumpers out of Trey Lewis, but he shows you that speed and the ability to get to the cup.
I like the way he was aggressive coming off the handoff. He didn't just take it and try to make a play with the ball. He took it and went right away and was able to get to the free throw line.
Ross Travis going to come back onto the floor. He replaces Cameron Woodyard, who gets a nice hand. He made 3 critical three-pointers here in this second half. Shot is missed. We're going to have a lane violation. One of the Big Red players was in the paint too soon. Rebounded by Miller. He now has a double-double.
Penn State right now, 2-3 zone. Gotta watch 15 if you're Penn State. Bottom of your screen.
Ferry, an open look. Penn State forgot about him.
Yeah, he did a nice job of moving with the basketball, and Wroblewski's played a lot of games. He knows who's the shooter. Nice job of getting in the teeth of the defense and finding Ferry.
5 three-pointers made for Drew Ferry. Came into this game the 2nd most prolific three-point shooter in Division I basketball.
A mismatch here as Frazier got the big fella on him. Lamore in no man's land.
Oliver. Rebounded by Lamore. Lamore given quality minutes in relief of John Fagini. Oh, better pass, and that was an open look for Ferry. Gray. In and out. That would have given Cornell the lead. Under 3 minutes to play. This is way closer than Penn State would have preferred it. And a hand check up high, they're going to call it on Jonathan Gray. Both sides in the bonus, so we'll have free throws when we come back. Drew Ferry keeping Cornell in this one. He has ripped 5 triples.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so.
Another reason more people stay with State Farm. Get to a better state.
This December, the Big Ten Football Report keeps you in the know about everything happening on and off the gridiron. Bowl previews and analysis, off-season news, and the latest buzz on draft prospects. The Big Ten Football Report, next on BTN. When the final buzzer sounds, our analysis begins. The finale presented by Reese's. Highlights, insight, and all the post-game chatter. The finale presented by Reese's. Tomorrow, only on BTN.
From groundbreaking motocross technology to a leader in ATV innovation to #1 in MotoGP and #1 in sport ATVs, Yamaha is the first name in motorsports. Be the first to save big during the Yamaha Time to Ride sales event.
Hey folks, Rick Pizzo, Jerry Donardo, Howard Griffith with you in the BTN studios. Get you back to the Bryce Jordan Center in a bit, but a reminder, after the game, it's the BTN Football Report as we talk NCAA penalties handed down to Ohio State.
And 2 reasons why Michigan's going to win the ballgame. And a little bit about recruiting philosophies.
This is a show you don't want to miss. It's the BTN Football Report with Jerry Howard and myself right after the game. But for now, send it back to State College for Penn State and Cornell.
2:44 left to play at the Bryce Jordan Center. Penn State up by 2. 3-pointers have been key in the second half for the Nittany Lions.
You know, one of the keys to the game was who is going to help out Tim Frazier in the scoring department. He is the only guy on Penn State averaging double figures. And Woodyard off the bench, who played very well against Mount St. Mary's, has been very good. And Trey Lewis keeping his name looking good with all those threes today. He has been fantastic. The rest of the team not so good from behind the arc.
You think Trey Lewis wears number 3 for a specific reason?
Sounds practical.
1-on-1 situation. Free throw is missed by Marshall. That's just a killer. Penn State now 13 for 20 at the free throw line.
Over the last 2 games, they thought they had that solved because they had struggled early.
And a steal. Frazier had it. Now he hits the deck. He'll have another chance at the free throw line. Ferry was trying to get loose. He just dribbled the ball right off the shoe top of Frazier. Easiest steal he's going to get all year. Coming up next, our football experts will get you ready for the bowl season in the Big Ten with a look at each Big Ten team. That's the Big Ten Football Report coming up after our game on BTN. 2 shots the rest of the way for Penn State. They're going to need all the shots they can get because right now they're not going in. Frazier misses the first.
Yeah, they have really struggled all season long from the free throw line. But last 2 games, like I mentioned before, they're right around 80%. So Patrick Chambers thought they had that figured out. Right when you think you have something figured out in sports, kind of when it goes against them.
Under 2.5 to play. Cornell down by 3. This is a team that went to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Struggled last season.
Look at Frazier really in the face of Ferry.
Interior pass. Lamore a little bit short. Loose and finally picked up by Oliver. He's going to be tied up. Possession arrow is going to keep it with Cornell. This is incredible. Dave Lamore, who missed the layup inside, he's getting meaningful minutes. This is the second college game he's ever played. Hadn't scored a point until today's second half. And now he's playing in crunch time against a Big Ten team. Robleski. Big shot for the senior. 4. Eight points now for Robleski. Frazier, he's got a mismatch. Over to Marshall on the baseline, blocked away, and a foul call. Miller got all ball, but he may have gotten some body.
Robleski just walks them to sleep right here. He's able to create a little bit of space. And the senior from Highland Park's played a lot of minutes, makes a big shot. And Marshall the other end doing what I think he does best right now, attacking the rim. Gets the free throw line.
4 fouls now on Miller. Marshall will shoot 2. He hits the first. He's now 7 for 9 at the free throw line. Nittany Lions back on top. Cornell down by 2. Robleski in trouble. Over to Ferry.
They're going to guard that pick and roll so hard, that far out. Someone's going to flash in the middle.
Shot clock to 11. Robleski from 8 feet. Too strong. Rebounded by Oliver. And now Penn State's going to take the air out of the ball.
Now, if you're Cornell, no need to foul. Play good defense, plenty of time. Robleski kind of give that Joe DiMaggio kick in the dirt right there. Thought that one should have went from.
Just a reminder, coming up next on BTN, the Big Ten Football Report, getting you ready for all the bowl games the Big Ten has in store. We've still got 49 ticks left here at the Bryce Jordan Center. Cornell down by 2. If you're Penn State, let's talk about the offense they're going to draw up. When do they start heading towards the basket? What are some options right now for Patrick Chambers?
Well, they've shot the 3 extremely well here in the second half. Around 50%. They've made 7 3-pointers. So guys are shooting the ball with confidence right now. Woodyard, Lewis. But if I'm Patrick Chambers, I'm putting the ball in number 23's hand. That's Tim Frazier. Let him make the decision. And because he's such an excellent passer, leading the Big Ten in assists, you got to trust that he's going to be able to make a play, get in the lane. If he can't score himself, find one of his teammates.
Something to be cognizant of. Penn State has been terrific on the offensive glass this evening. 16 offensive rebounds. Should Cornell force a miss, they've got to get that rebound first.
The thing for Penn State is they've made enough threes that Cornell has to stay honest with the shooters. That's going to make Tim Frazier's life a little bit easier. See, what's happened this year for Penn State is when Frazier's drove into the lane, kind of everyone's left their man and gravitated towards the ball. So watch Lewis, Woodyard, Oliver. Those guys could benefit from that penetration.
Penn State a timeout left. Cornell 2 timeouts left. Possession arrow favors the Nittany Lions. This is Frazier.
He's going to go high screen and roll at Oliver, who's a good pick and pop guy.
20 seconds on the shot clock. Marshall. Easy bucket for Marshall. And the lead is 4. Shot clock is off. Bodies flying and an offensive foul. They're going to call that. I think they called it on Robleski, and it's his 5th.
A nice handoff here, and this is what Marshall, I think, does so well. Get to the rim. Nice body control finish on the right-hand side. And Robleski, see him leave his feet right there. Savvy play by Oliver, stepping in, and now Cornell, without their leader, their glue, Robleski, they're going to have to foul. Send Penn State to the free throw line. And hope they're not successful, which they have struggled with at times tonight.
Robleski finishes with 8 points. He fouls out. And we're going to go the other way. Penn State will shoot free throws.
So the last 3 games Cornell has played against Big Ten teams, they have all led in the second half. Minnesota last year, Illinois
on Monday,
and tonight against Penn State. So they are right there, right on the cusp, but can't seem to put it all together.
I apologize. I said we're going to go the other way and shoot free throws. We'll have to have a foul first, and now we will go the other way and shoot free throws. Jonathan Gray called for the foul, and Cameron Woodyard This is going to be Marshall shooting free throws. No, it was Woodyard. Woodyard will shoot 2 free throws as we've reached the double bonus. Fitting that Woodyard at the free throw line. He is the guy with the outside shooting that has given Penn State a puncher's chance here in the second half. Made 3 vital three-pointers. Now hits the first free throw.
And the only senior on the roster has been huge for Patrick Chambers this year, really giving them a spark off the bench. Now if you're Cornell, you almost have to take a 3 because it's a 2-possession game.
Ferry. Wow. The lead is down to 3. That was set up by Cancer, who just fed Ferry behind him, who makes a relatively easy three-pointer. He's got 20 points.
Yeah, it looks easy on TV, but look how far out he is there, Eric. That's behind NBA range, but you're right. Tim Frazier kind of hangs his head in disgust as Ferry not letting this big red team walk away without a fight.
Ferry now is 6 three-pointers made in 11 attempts. It's a 3-point game. And Penn State's got to inbounds this ball successfully. You know that Cornell's going to try and foul you. First things first, Nittany Lions need to get the ball in bounds.
Well, if I'm Penn State, I draw something up for Woodyard. I mean, he's been really good from the field. Went to the free throw line, banged home too. He's in a rhythm right now. Look for number 24 if he's on the floor. Get the ball.
Woodyard's going to trigger the inbound. Marshall inbounds it to Woodyard, and Woodyard is fouled. Will go the other way. So you're right, Tim. They wanted to get the ball to Cameron Woodyard because they trust him right now.
And that was a nice job of utilizing the baseline after a make. Marshall frees up Woodyard. Eric, that's an easy thing when you got a side isolated like Woodyard did to get open. I never understood how people couldn't just take one hard step and then go the opposite way. Your defender is virtually helpless. Sometimes I think coaches get a little too complicated with their out-of-bounds schemes. You set a screen, the guys are running all over the place. It makes me think back to the Knicks and Pacers. Anthony Mason, the air and inbounds pass. Reggie Miller hits the 3 because they were trying to run the most complicated out-of-bounds play.
Number 24, Cameron Woodyard on the line for the Lions. 2 shots.
So Woodyard will shoot 2 free throws. Do have a substitution for Cornell. 21, Peter McMillan into the game. This is the first game action for him today. And Woodyard makes the first to make it a 2-possession game. Pretty good looking stroke. Cornell's got to hurry. Down by 5. Ball is loose, picked up by Trey Lewis. And that's probably going to do it. Cornell needs to foul. They can't grab anyone. And finally, Cancer reaches out and grabs Tim Frazier. Tonight's GMC Professional Grade Player of the Game is the man going to the free throw line. Penn State's Tim Frazier.
And he has done it all. Near triple-double, 11 rebounds, folks. This person is 6'1", maybe 170 pounds soaking wet, but he is all over the floor for Patrick Chambers. And he is going to have to put this team on his back when they go into conference play. Got some help tonight, and that's why the Nittany Lions going to walk away to win. Lewis and Woodyard were key. Marshall as well.
Those 11 rebounds. The second time this year he's grabbed 11 boards. Cancer. Final shot of the game is missed, and it's a 7-point win for Penn State. A hard-fought 7-point win. Penn State, they survived. They won 2 in a row now.
Eric, this year's team has more wins than last year's team that made the NCAA tournament. So Patrick Chambers has this team playing at a better level than others have expected. Tim Frazier's going to need that help from others if they're going to have success in the Big Ten.
That's going to do it from University Park, Pennsylvania. Nice win for Penn State. Up next on BTN, it's the Big Ten Football Report. For Tim Doyle and our entire BTN crew, I'm Eric Collins saying so long, everybody. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Big Ten Network.
Now on the Big Ten Football Report, was Ohio State's punishment too soft or too severe? We break down the effect on the present and future of both the Buckeyes and the Big Ten. The league's first bowl game now less than a week away. keys to the Boilers' postseason matchup with Western Michigan and why Purdue will play shorthanded. Plus, Coach is busy with much more than just game planning these days. We examine the methods and morality of late-stage recruiting. The Big Ten Football Report starts right now. And welcome into the BTN Football Report presented by Allstate. Rick Pizzo joined by Jerry DiNardo and Howard Griffith.
Howard? Yes?
Lots to get to on the field in the next 30 minutes, but we start off the field in Columbus. The big news coming from Ohio State. The Buckeyes will not play in a bowl game next season after being cited by the NCAA for failure to monitor these penalties in relation to the receipt of impermissible benefits. Buckeyes have also been stripped of 9 scholarships over the next 3 seasons. Former coach Jim Tressel punished with a 5-year show cause penalty. This a more detailed look at the NCAA imposed penalties. OSU cannot play in any postseason game next year, including the Big Ten title game. In addition to reduced scholarships, Ohio State's probationary period extended through December 2014. The show cause means any school which hires Jim Tressel in the next 5 years is subject to the same penalties imposed upon him unless that school can show cause. They should not be penalized for hiring him. Gentlemen, you've both read the report yesterday. You listened into the NCAA conference call. Now you've had a full 24 hours to digest the ruling. How'd the NCAA do in this case?
I think they did it right. I think it's fair. Jim Tressel, other than the players, made the biggest mistake, and Jim Tressel appears to have been punished the most significantly. As far as the institution is, once lack of institutional control was off the table, I think the NCAA got it right. So I think, Howard, in this case, the punishment equals the crime. Yeah, I feel that it was fair and it was just. I think what people have a problem with, and I'm talking about other people that are out here, whether you're Ohio State fans or you're fans of USC, there's no consistency. And I think that's where you have so much discussion about whether or not this was a fair or a just penalty, but I believe it was just.
The big question right now out there, how does this impact Ohio State immediately? Does it, Howard?
From a recruiting standpoint, I don't think it has any significant penalty with it or problems with it, because I think those elite players are still going to want to go to Ohio State, not to mention Urban Meyer is the head coach. And I think that's the trump card that's here when you talk about whether or not it's just 1 year. It's just 1 year. I think these players will still look at Ohio State, and I still think that he can go out and recruit just about anybody he wants. I think what it does immediately to recruiting is it slows Urban down a little bit as recruiting closes down. When you get a bunch of commitments and you only have a few scholarships left, sometimes that list is too big for those few scholarships. So I think it will slow him down a little bit towards the end. But remember, you can oversign in the Big Ten by 3 scholarships. So if he goes a little bit past where he's supposed to be, he can gray shirt some of the guys from this year's class, push them to January. And you know what, guys? That could be a positive, because if you get pushed to January, you'll never have to suffer that bowl suspension. Yeah, and I think the other interesting one is when you talk about that bowl not being able to go to the bowl, but those practices that Urban Meyer will lose out on toward the end of this upcoming season. I think that's where it may hurt him a little bit as well. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Internally, not regard to recruiting, you have to manage your own roster to some degree, because someone who's going into their last year of eligibility could transfer to another school outside the Big Ten, be eligible immediately. So that's a little bit of a concern, but I don't think either one's a major concern.
I think we can all agree we could see a major effect on the field when it comes to the Leaders Division next year. Of course, Ohio State can't play in the title game, and Jerry, some other schools in that division dealing with some issues as well.
Yeah, no question. I mean, when you look at the leaders right now after the ruling in Ohio State, Wisconsin, they're high-fiving themselves. Purdue's high-fiving themselves. Because what's the rest of the division look like? Ohio State's not eligible. Penn State is somewhat in disarray, or if not disarray, not settled. You have Illinois, who's going to have a first-year coach, Howard. You have Indiana, who's going to have a second-year coach. So right now, I think it's Wisconsin and Purdue to go to the championship game. And I was just going to say that you look at Purdue and you talk about stability. they have it. Obviously, Indiana is there as well because of the second-year coach in this program. So I think you have to really look at Purdue and see what they're going to be able to do, and they may be able to take advantage of this.
I mean, for the third year in a row, it's very possible Wisconsin challenges and may win the Big Ten.
Yeah, Smiles in Madison right now and in West Lafayette, perhaps, as those teams will likely start next year as favorites in the Leaders Division. All right, time to survey what the eyes of other Big Ten fans are watching these days outside of Columbus. And we start in Madison, where the Badgers are getting ready for a second straight Rose Bowl appearance. Whiskey, of course, in search of better luck against Oregon than they found a year ago in Pasadena during their 2-point loss to TCU. Uncertainty continues to be the buzzword surrounding Penn State. Starting quarterback Matt McGloin's status for Penn State's Ticket City Bowl matchup with Houston remains unknown after McGloin was injured in a fight with teammate Curtis Drake earlier this week. Nebraska will make its first postseason appearance as a member of the Big Ten when the Cornhuskers face South Carolina in the Capital One Bowl on New Year's Day. That game will mark Nebraska's 48th bowl appearance, the most of any Big Ten school. A victory would secure the Huskers' third straight 10-win season. Of course, beating the SEC proved easier said than done a year ago when the Big Ten went just 1-3 against its rivals from the South. Ohio State's Sugar Bowl win, the lone Big Ten victory, as Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State gave up a combined 138 points in losses to Mississippi State, Alabama, and Florida, respectively. Prior to last season, the Big Ten had actually split its previous 10 bowl games against the SEC, and even with the disappointment of New Year's Day 2011, only the Big East has a better postseason winning percentage against the SEC over the past 5 years. All right, fellas, we've laid out some intriguing storylines. Jerry, which piques your interest the most?
Well, I love the Big Ten SEC Challenge. I mean, there's 4 games. I'm going to include Northwestern and future SEC member Texas A&M. But look at the matchup. Georgia loses their championship game against Michigan State, who loses their championship game. Nebraska, who almost makes the championship game, against South Carolina, who almost makes the SEC championship game. Ohio State and Florida, 2 traditional powers that had very average to poor years, and then you've got Northwestern A&M. Howard, I think those are fair matchups. I don't see any reason why the Big Ten can't win most of them, if not all of them. They're fair. Everybody's chasing the SEC. This is a step in catching the SEC.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Those are obviously going to be intriguing. But for me, I go to Penn State and I look at the quarterback situation with McGloin, the uncertainty of whether or not he's going to be able to participate in this game. And you look at the quarterback situation. You look at Bolden, who had the issue with the Gatorade bottle. Where do they go if McGloin can't? Obviously, it's Bolden, but they were going back and forth all season long and couldn't decide upon a quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, the last couple of games, they had decided on McGloin, and then you have an unfortunate incident that happened on the field, ended in the locker room, and this young man ends up in the hospital, and now there's more uncertainty around that Penn State program on the field this time.
When Bolden did come in for a few snaps in relief of McGloin, he was completely ineffective, and of course, Penn State still doesn't know who its temporary coach is going to be either before or after they play in that bowl game either. As we said, the buzzword in State College remains uncertainty. Well, still to come on the BTN Football Report, Jerry explains why Michigan is in prime position to claim its first BCS bowl win in more than a decade. Iowa heads to the Insight without its top running back. The latest on Marcus Coker's suspension and who the Hawks have left. Plus, keys to victory for the first Big Ten team to go bowling as we break down Purdue's matchup with Western Michigan.
The Big Ten Football Report is brought to you by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
Now it's time for a one-of-a-kind party.
My philosophy of leadership is making a difference. I think it's one of the responsibilities of a university to bring out the leadership capabilities of their students. You can lead in ways that you influence people and influence their lives and influence society.
When the final buzzer sounds, our analysis begins. The finale presented by Reese's. Highlights, insight, and all the post-game chatter. The finale presented by Reese's. Tomorrow, only on BTN.
Is your computer running slowly? Does it take more than 3 seconds for your email to load? Are you frustrated with error messages, blue screens, computer freezes, and crashes? These are not only annoying, but can cause permanent damage to your computer. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, your computer and your privacy may be at risk, because these are usually the telltale signs of a virus, and it can only get worse until you act. Get a free diagnosis at mycleanpc.com.
My Clean PC is outstanding, and my computer is running faster than ever.
My Clean PC came through with flying colors when no one else could.
My Clean PC totally cleaned up my system and increased my speed.
MyCleanPC.com can remove spyware, viruses, and infected emails, all speeding up your PC's performance. It offers all-in-one protection, and it's been downloaded by millions of users. Even if you have antivirus software, your computer could still be infected. Find out instantly with a free comprehensive diagnosis at mycleanpc.com.
Friday, Rick Pizzo, Derek Rackley, and Tim Doyle debate all the hot topics and offer a fun take on what everyone's talking about. The Big Ten Pulse, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Friday on BTN.
Iowa running back Marcus Coker has been suspended for the Hawkeyes' Insight Bowl game against Oklahoma. Coker, who ranks second in the Big Ten with nearly 1,400 rushing yards, will not travel with the team to Arizona after committing an unspecified violation of Iowa's student-athlete code of conduct. That means an opportunity for Jason White, who has rushed all of 4 times in his entire career, yet listed right now as the starting running back on the Hawkeyes depth chart. That's because Mikhail McCall, injured earlier this year, was suspended prior to the Nebraska game. He will not play for Iowa against Oklahoma either. Now, fellas, we saw this a year ago. Adam Robinson was suspended. Marcus Coker came out of relative anonymity to have a huge game and lead Iowa to a win. What's Kirk Ferentz do this time around?
Well, Coker had more experience, but the message is still the same for Kirk Ferentz. He tells his team we were in the same situation a year ago, and Marcus Coker had a great day. And that's what we have to get from our tailback. But let's think about James Vandenberg, Marvin McNutt, and the offensive line. They were going to have to win the game based on those 3 positions, regardless of what happened to tailback. And not to minimize the tailback, right. Iowa has to have a tailback game enough for Oklahoma to defend it, but to win this game, they have to throw, catch, and protect.
And as you mentioned, earlier in the season, it was really about the passing attack and Vandenberg really moving the team. So look for them to be in some 3 wides, possibly even 4 wide receivers type situations when they go into this bowl game. Could be a high-scoring game if that's the case.
Let's not forget Oklahoma has struggled against the pass this year. Robert Griffin of Baylor lit him up, as did Brandon Whedon from Oklahoma State. Purdue, meanwhile, will play its bowl game against Western Michigan without leading tackler Dwayne Beckford. Beckford has been suspended for the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl after his weekend arrest on suspicion of DWI. Beckford had 90 tackles, 3 sacks, and 1 interception this season. Big Ten fans may remember we've seen Western Michigan in the league twice this year. First, as part of Brady Hoke's debut in Ann Arbor, Jordan Kovacs forces the fumble. Brandon Herron, one of 2 touchdowns in this game, as Michigan will go on to crush the Broncos 34-10. Much tighter game for Western Michigan against Illinois. The Broncos down by 7 until Alex Carter and Jordan White hook up, as they did 16 times this year, to tie it at 20. Derek Dimke's 21-yard field goal the difference as Illinois escapes 23-20. Let's get to know the Broncos, shall we? A bit of a primer on Western Michigan. They've never won a bowl game, 0-4 all time, but this year's squad can throw it all over the yard. Quarterback Alex Carter ranks 8th nationally in passing yards, while Jordan White leads all FBS players in catches and receiving yards. Let's go between the lines and break this one down a little bit. Howard, Western Michigan can throw it. Purdue's going to have to find a way to defend it.
No question about it. They have great success throwing the football, particularly down the field. You talked about Jordan White, 6 foot, 215 pounds. But look for Ricardo Allen, who I believe is one of the best corners in the Big Ten, playing with a chip on his shoulder because he made second team All Big Ten this past season and not first team. This is going to be an excellent opportunity for him to step up and show people why he should have been on the first team.
This is a really tough matchup for Purdue. Everyone's heard about the stories about when a MAC team plays a Big Ten team, the Big Ten team always gets its best shot. That's real. And Howard, you mentioned the matchup that might favor Western Michigan, but the difference between Big Ten schools and MAC schools is line play. There's not enough big kids in this country playing football in high school. There's certainly not enough big kids in this part of the country playing high school football. So what happens to you during recruiting is the Big Ten takes most of the good athletic linemen. And the time you get to the MAC, it's not so athletic, not so good at the line of scrimmage. So the difference for Purdue is the line of scrimmage. Purdue will only win this game if they win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football.
And we saw Michigan basically be able to eliminate Carter to White in their game against Western Michigan because they got pressure, gave Carter no time to sit back there in the pocket. Purdue needs to do the very same. Well, up next, Mark D'Antonio still staring at one item on his MSU to-do list, Howard, on why winning a bowl game is about to be crossed off. Is this the year Northwestern ends a 6-decade-long bowl victory drought? We'll preview the Cats of NU and the Aggies of A&M. Plus, when is a commitment truly a commitment? Why almost all is fair in war and recruiting until your name is on the dotted line.
Multi-policy discount. Paperless discount. Paid in full discount. Homeowners discount. Safe driver discount. Chipmunk family reunion. Someone stole the nuts. Squirrel jail. Justice.
Countless discounts. Now that's progressive. Call or click today.
Tomorrow, BTN hits the hardwood for a doubleheader of hoops. First, Jordan Morgan leads the Wolverines into their final tune-up for conference play against Bradley. Then, William Buford and the talented Buckeyes aim to put on a show when they square off with Miami of Ohio. Big Ten basketball presented by GMC. Tomorrow only on BTN.
Only The Journey delivers a one-of-a-kind, all-access view of Big Ten hoops.
That's The Journey.
Now, see why fans are raving about the Emmy Award-winning series with a look back at all the stories and behind-the-scenes moments from last season.
It's on the road! 3 or 5 years! Can't get no better than that!
Don't miss The Journey, Big Ten Basketball 2011 Marathon. Monday beginning at 3 Eastern, only on BTN.
Wondering what to give that'll wow them this Christmas? Here's the unique wow of the season. Freshly dipped gourmet strawberries from Sherry's Berries. Only the biggest berries are hand-selected, delicately dipped, and artfully decorated. And they're only $19.99. Order now and your Christmas berries will also arrive with these deluxe premium toppings plus a personalized card absolutely free. Just go to berries.com, click on the microphone in the upper right corner, enter code 10 in the box.
They were big and red and fresh, and they were super juicy.
Very elegant gift, very affordable.
It's easy to use their website. It's easy to select something that looks good.
I would love to receive them myself.
Special TV bonus. Order now and double your berries for just $9.99 more. That's twice as many berries. Don't miss out. Order right now and get guaranteed delivery by Christmas. Go to berries.com, click on the mic in the upper right corner, enter code 10 in the box, or call toll-free 1-888-SWEET-90 and mention TV. Go online now.
We are back on the BTN Football Report, and here's what's trending when it comes to Big Ten bowl games. Northwestern in search of its first postseason win since the 1949 Rose Bowl, when the Cats faced Texas A&M in the Meineke Car Care Bowl. NU has lost bowl games in each of the past 3 years by a touchdown or less. And Mark D'Antonio has never lost to Michigan as head coach at Michigan State, but he's also never won a bowl game since arriving in East Lansing. Coach D and the Spartans look to erase that blemish against Georgia in an Outback Bowl matchup of teams coming off conference championship game losses. Brady Hoke, meanwhile, has Michigan back in the BCS Bowl mix for the first time since a Rose Bowl appearance 5 seasons ago. Michigan hasn't won a BCS game since beating Alabama in the 2000 Orange Bowl. This year, it's the Sugar Bowl, where the Wolverines will face ACC runner-up Virginia Tech. The shorthanded Hawkeyes could have a tough time keeping alive the Big Ten's longest current bowl win streak. Iowa has won 3 consecutive postseason games, heading into the Insight Bowl, where the Hawks will face Oklahoma. Iowa 6-3 overall in bowl games under Kirk Ferentz. Of these 4 matchups, gentlemen, which do you look at and think to yourself, this matchup favors the Big Ten?
You know, when I look at this Michigan State-Georgia matchup, I really like this one for a couple of reasons. And I look at Mark D'Antonio as the head coach and going back to what happened in their bowl game last year against Alabama and have talked with him over the course of this year. He really points to that game, to where the team needed to get better, not only physically, but from the offensive line play, from the defensive line play. They learned a lot about themselves in that game. So I expect them to come out and play really well in this matchup this week when they get an opportunity to go after Georgia, because I think it just sets up well for them when you look at what they can do offensively and defensively.
Howard, I like Michigan. I also have 2 reasons. The first reason is Michigan is fired up to be in a BCS bowl, and winning a bowl game a lot of times has a lot to do with, are you where you want to be? Because a lot of teams think they should be in better bowls, and it's hard to win a bowl game when that happens. But the second and more important reason is the matchup of the Michigan rush defense against the Virginia Tech run defense. Virginia Tech's lost 2 games, both of them to Clemson, and in both those games, Clemson held Virginia Tech's rushing attack under their average. They averaged 188. In the 2 Clemson games, it was 133 and 56.
It's about all they needed to know, that fans didn't care.
Athletic Director Pat Richter fired Don Morton after the 1989 season and quickly lured one of the nation's top assistant coaches to Madison to help rebuild the Badger program. Barry Alvarez, then the defensive coordinator under Lou Holtz at Notre Dame.
I knew Barry was talking to the University of Wisconsin, and he said, I'm going to go to Wisconsin. I said, you sure that's what you want to do, Barry? You'll get a lot of good opportunities. He said, no. He said, I think it's a great opportunity. And I said, if that's what you want to do, then, you know, Wisconsin's fortunate to have you.
Alvarez was no stranger to the conference, having been an assistant